Are there questions?
Aside from the technology perspective, if you were going to start a program now, the regulatory aspect, what would you do different, given that you have a blank sheet of paper? What are the lessons that we've learned in the United States and other countries that would facilitate the fast growth and the form of transformation?
You mean as far as regulations, laws? Yeah. In the seminar that we prepared in May 11, there is a section, a whole section dedicated to that, to what should be the process of regulating all of these companies and creating, no abuse, but not coercion and things like that. It's very complicated, but it's being contemplated.
I think we've learned a lot between the last two presentations. We've evolved. We have a pretty good sense of what the best practices are all about. We know how to contain safety. So we should leapfrog an awful lot of the bureaucracy and start putting on the ground things that will work immediately, put the proper investment in, lift the infrastructure as quickly as possible, and keep the government out of places that they have absolutely no place being.
They are going to have a problem there, which is not typical of the United States now, for example. They have to be doing everything at the same time, creating the infrastructure, creating the regulations and the laws and everything, who owns what and why, what is a foreign company, what is not a foreign company. And at the same time that you are building roads, you are building industries and homes. So it's a mess. But I hope it will be a welcome mess. But yes, somebody had to take care of that with a minimum government. Yeah?
There's a question here.
Yeah. Everybody keeps talking about lifting the embargo and everything. In case, that Cuba was to experience a boom one way or the other by lifting the embargo or becoming a democracy or something, it seems like this generating capacity is not going to be able to sustain the growth in Cuba. Do you have an estimate on how much it would take and how long it would take to build an infrastructure that would be able to carry that?
In electricity, yes, it's there, but I didn't want to go over the numbers. I mentioned briefly, it's in 2 or 3 of the slides. Yeah, and the time, it depends on 3, 4 years. Then you're going to need a lot of those potables that we're talking about, because you are going to need power.
That's to bring it to the current demand.
Yeah.
Not the growth that we saw.
No, we're talking about 2 things. 500 megawatts that we needed like yesterday. And then we need like a lot more. But that will take 3, 4 years. You don't build that in just a few months. And the transmission lines and the substations and the transformers, it's not only the plant. If you put the best plant in the world there, but you continue with those lousy lines, you're losing a lot of money or a lot of power. And the other thing is, remember that electricity is a product that is consumed by the Cuban people, and the Cuban people pays in pesos. And as long as the peso doesn't go up, nobody will be willing to invest. All the investment that you have in Cuba from other companies now are in the tourist industry, because they pay in euros or dollars. But as long as the dollar and the peso is 25 to 1, and you in your house are going to pay 50 pesos for your electricity, who wants that? Company-wise, I mean.
Okay. One last question? Sure.
No, just the socioeconomic issue once things turn around. I mean, I could just imagine you're saying, who's going to pay for the electricity? I mean, everybody's going to have, who's going to want to find a way to circumvent the system and steal electricity, I guess.
That's what they're doing now.
Yeah, so this whole socioeconomic aspect of this needs to be addressed. I know we've discussed it.
We have first to rebuild also the human factor. That's what you're saying.
Yeah.
Okay. You don't have to be afraid to say. We had to rebuild the people. We had to show the people how to work, not to lie, how to systematically, not to steal, like you're saying, to be as they used to be. Good workers, and that you had to work to make money.
That takes a couple of generations.
Well, yes, I know.
Okay, last questions, we have to move on. Thanks.
But up in Ohio, where I'm from, there's a lot of talk about building factories right next to the wellhead. They cut you guys out of it, but they're doing that. Would something like that be possible with LNG? And you know, if somebody wanted to build a resort and build their own plant in Cuba, could they bring in a power source that's local to that facility and sort of get things going a lot faster than do in the 18 months?
But you mean now or later? You mean?
No, later. I know.
Oh, no. Later, of course. Of course, but that's one of the questions that somebody asked about. You asked, Peter, about the regulations. The government has to be flexible and say, yes, you can do that for the time being. And do you want a monopoly or do you want more than one company? The building in Cuba, and the same thing will happen with the cell phones, with the fixed phones, with everything. That's another factor. But yes, I would. My answer would be, by all means, do it. Of course. That's the only way.
Thank you very much.